session. We are starting the recording now. And then, as I mentioned, Connor, if we don't get good attendance, we'll just do an encore. We'll keep this going, and we'll share this virtually via the website and the Hug group as well.
Sounds good.
All right. So I'm just doing a couple things here. I'm going to get rolling. Welcome to the Service Hub for Contract Manufacturers, Use Cases, Ideas, and How-tos. This is the first event for the HubSpot User Group's Contract Manufacturing, East Coast in parentheses. This was previously the HubSpot User Group Rochester, a little bit of a name shift. And it's okay if we have people that aren't contract manufacturers. It's okay if we have people that aren't on the East Coast. It's all good. We're all here to learn and network. I'm Josh, COO and partner at Protocol 80. We are an inbound marketing agency that creates and implements inbound marketing strategies for manufacturing companies. I've been a Hug leader now this is going on my 5th year. It's been exciting. I missed the in-person events, but we will have some more in-person events later this year as well. Hopefully one at a larger manufacturing event in the fall, waiting on confirmation of that, but I'll keep everyone in the loop as that progresses. Outside of work, my favorite thing to do is gravel biking. I'm on Strava, so if you are a gravel biker, road biker, mountain biker, runner, or whatever, let's connect on Strava. Recently, I've enjoyed hiking primarily because we have a puppy and he needs his exercise. So we've been hiking a lot and cooking. And again, primarily because my family needs to eat, and I am the source of that. So we're going to talk about Service Hub. Service Hub is customer service software that's built right into the HubSpot platform. So if you're already using the HubSpot platform for whatever capacity, whether that's using the CRM and you use that as your primary source of customer data, prospect data, partner data, whether you're using the Marketing Hub, the Sales Hub, it makes sense to incorporate this customer service component. So not only do you have all of that pre-sale information there, but you also have the post-sale information, issues that are coming up, happy customers, upset customers, sad customers, all of that's there so that there's full transparency across our teams, whether we're looking at our front office or our back office team. A lot of this can utilize the automation tools that HubSpot has that we're familiar with on the sales side and on the marketing side, the reporting tools. It's a really great intuitive platform that if you already are familiar with the HubSpot ecosystem, really easy to leverage and adapt and build to your own processes. So 2 of the big things that are in HubSpot, which we're actually going to go beyond today, are tickets. These are issues that come up that need some sort of resolution. So we're able to take that issue that's arisen and making sure that it is resolved. That's something that so many companies don't do. You know, an email comes in that's like, hey, I have this issue with XYZ. Maybe it gets resolved, maybe not. A lot of times that's happening via email, but nobody understands whether that resolution's actually happening. There's not necessarily a follow-through unless you're CCing everyone else that should be involved. You know, the account manager, the sales rep, anyone else that's an internal stakeholder doesn't necessarily know that that was resolved. Also, we're humans. Things can fall through the cracks, right? So someone can email or call me. If I don't have something there to make sure that I resolve that issue, there's a greater chance that it's never going to be resolved. Okay? Make it a little bigger. Let me see here. Sorry, I just got your chat, Zach. Is that any bigger? Is that helpful at all? Did it change the size whatsoever? No? Let me go the other way. Still no? Well, we're going to have to work with this. I will send out the slide deck later on as well. All right, so some of the other things that we can incorporate, as mentioned, the conversation. So there's a conversations inbox. These would be things like you consider like a service at or help at or hello at, where somebody's emailing that group inbox, you can handle that all from HubSpot. The old-fashioned way was somebody emailed that distribution list or that hello at, somebody responds, maybe they think to CC everyone else, maybe not. So we don't know, again, where that conversation is going. When we're incorporating it into the conversations inbox, the contacts added, the conversations associated with the contact, and we can then create a ticket that requires a follow-up or resolution with that conversation and with the contacts and companies that are associated with it. We can have customer satisfaction surveys. So if we resolve a ticket, we can automatically send something to our customers that says, hey, how'd we do? Or you can even incorporate those things at certain periods of time. So we send quarterly surveys to our customers so that they can give us feedback and we understand the happiness level of our customers. And if there's an issue, we'd rather address the issue earlier and sooner rather than waiting for it to fester and come up and be a greater issue down the road. Or if we have really happy customers, those are the people that are going to be our raving fans, the ones that are going to refer us to similar customers to them. So we want to make sure we understand that component. The other thing is the automation. It's a major benefit of using the Service Hub. If something happens, ticket arises, we can notify internal people that this is happening, or we can notify external people. Hey, we're aware of the issue you just presented to us, and we're working hard to resolve it. Someone will be in touch in X amount of hours. If we're automating that process, we're keeping that communication flow open, and we're making sure that all parties that need to be involved are involved. You can even think of other internal workflows, like a ticket gets set in the system. Maybe on the company record, I flag something that's like new ticket in the system. So now on the company record, if someone's looking at that, they know that there's a ticket. That association will be there as well. But maybe we can count repeat tickets. So customers that have more than 3 tickets or more than 5 tickets over a specific time frame, maybe we need to do something different to address those customers that are having repeat issues. Okay. All right, I'm going to move on a little bit here to why do we need this? This is the flywheel, something HubSpot has been promoting for quite a while, and it's starting to make more and more sense as we see it more and more often, right? We have the flywheel where we've got customers, we're attracting prospects that are coming in and becoming our new customers. We're engaging them, we're delighting them, and hopefully they're turning into great customers, right? But the faster we can make this flywheel spin, the happier we can make our customers, the more referrals we're going to get, the easier it's going to be to sell to our existing customer base. Lots of benefits in making sure that there's less friction in our flywheel. HubSpot Service Hub is one of the greatest ways to make that happen because all of our customer and our company data and our contact data is in one place. All of our teams should be in one place. And the more transparent, the more alignment that we have, and the more communication that we're sharing across our teams, the happier our customers are going to be. That's going to be my final pitch as to why we need to do it. I think we all know that we need to have good customer service. It's just, how do we do that? Is it in our ERP systems or our other systems that we're managing customer service? Or is it in a system like HubSpot? So I'm going to run through some examples of how some of our customers are using this in the manufacturing space that are slightly unique to the Service Hub that isn't like your typical scenario that you might think of for a SaaS company, right? Like for a tech company or a SaaS company, it's easy. I have an issue with my software. Well, fix that bug, right? When we think about it from a manufacturing standpoint, it's not always that clear that something should be a ticket or an issue that has follow through that's resolved. So I think it's dismissed earlier than it might be in the SaaS world. So this is a manufacturing company where a lot of things that they're producing have an engineering component to it. And it does look like this is really small. Like I can hardly even read the words when I'm looking at the one that I'm sharing. Can you guys even see any of the words? No.
I do have to get quite close.
All right. Well, I'll describe it, and hopefully this will help. But again, I'll share the slides when we send out the follow-up email. All right, so they have the sales process, right? Sales reps are going through those conversations, sales conversations. Things are progressing well, but what they found was when engineering got involved, it slowed things down. Everything became more complicated. Sales conversations couldn't happen at the rate that they should be, and it was just kind of derailing everything. It slowed the whole process down. But at the same time, the engineering component is really important. They couldn't just be like, all right, engineers, go elsewhere. We'll close this and then we'll figure it out later on, right? So what we did was tied the engineering process using the Service Hub, where there was an engineering ticket created when determined by the rep. Hey, engineering should be involved. It automated that ticket creation, assigned it to an engineer, and those engineers could follow their process on the service side while at the same time having the association to the sales process. So as reps moved it along, that also showed the engineers where things were in the sales process. Well, the sales reps were also able to see where drawings are, where prototyping is, and where the conversations are going between the customer engineer and the engineer on our customer side. So by doing this, teams were connected. We were able to automate. And if something were moved to close lost or something else, a major milestone in the sales process, all of the reps were engaged with that as well. So it's not like your typical scenario as to how I would use Service Hub, but you can use the tickets to follow a process and a pipeline. You can use automation to create these and sync information back and forth. And we can allow different teams to have conversations with the people that they need to have conversations with without disrupting the process. Friction monitoring. So this isn't necessarily something where one issue arose and we create a ticket. Like I got a shipment and it was missing 5 pieces. That's not the scenario here. The scenario here is we're monitoring our accounts at a higher level, and we've noticed some friction with our accounts. And when there's friction with an account, maybe it's repeat deliveries are missing products, or we're delivering not on time and it's disrupting their process. And we've had 3 failed on-time delivery issues. Now we're creating this friction monitoring ticket. We sense that there's a struggle between company A and company B. How do we resolve this? So by using this friction monitoring, all of the stakeholders that needed to be involved were brought into the loop. Conversations were had. They determined what are we going to do to resolve this, and then eventually it moved to closed, either with a positive disposition or with a negative disposition, like we're being fired. Ideally, that's not going to happen, but if these high-level friction situations are monitored in one place and it's tied to all of these different associations and we're bringing all the parties in, there's less likely of a chance that it's going to move to that negative disposition column or become a greater headache for everyone down the road. We're bringing it into one space, right? Inherently, as humans and probably pretty good people, we don't want to see negative things are happening. We want to, in our mind, think, hey, everything's positive and honky-dory with all of our customers. But the truth is that's not usually the scenario. There's going to be some friction somewhere with our customer base. Let's highlight it, identify it, and bring it to the surface. This is a manufacturing company that sells machinery, and they track their shipping and communication processes from HubSpot. So a product is complete, gets sent to shipping in a stage, automatically creates the shipping record. They've identified who the freight carrier is. Based on who they've identified the freight carrier is, it automatically sets values on that shipping ticket to say, here's the freight carrier's phone number, here's their website. Eventually, they add the tracking number. Once it's shipped, an automated email goes out to the customer, actually using a label that says, this is our shipping contact. They get notified of all of the information as it relates to the shipping, the serial number of the machine, the time it's expected to be delivery, the freight carrier information, and their tracking number. Once it's delivered, that also changes in the system that says, hey, this is delivered. Close it out, we're done. and then we can send a survey after that. There's also a damaged column in here where if something's delivered damaged, it automatically creates a ticket in a different pipeline to say, hey, we had an issue with a shipment here. Let's resolve this. So we're tying different teams together and making sure that we're keeping everyone in the loop on processes, and we're keeping happy customers, right? When I purchase something as a consumer from Amazon, if I don't have a tracking number in the next like 12 hours, I'm like, I'm never going to get this shipment, right? Our B2B customers are the same way. Maybe not that like aggressive, but they also want to know things when things are leaving the facilities and expected to be at their own facility. So just some other use cases where we've implementing these for contract manufacturers specifically. Tracking POs. We know that if we have regular production of parts, POs either change or we get new POs per month, depending on the payment schedule. We have some customers that track PO status for jobs in HubSpot. There may be some scenarios where they're also tracking this in their ERP, which I understand we don't want to do rework, but there's potential where you could integrate with the ERP and pull PO status into HubSpot, or there may be value in just saying, we got the PO, take that extra 30 seconds so the other teams involved understand where we're at from that perspective. So even if it takes a little bit extra time, again, we're increasing that transparency. Regular customer surveys. So I'd say most of our manufacturing customers are ISO certified in some aspect, and they're required to do surveys, right? So why don't we incorporate some of our regular customer surveys into HubSpot? Maybe this isn't like the final survey that you're going to use for your ISO certifications, but this could be something that helps drive our ongoing quarterly ISO surveys or whatever rate you're doing them. Customer onboarding. You know, if you bring on a new customer as a manufacturer, there's some sort of onboarding process, most likely. You know, whether that's strictly just financial, who gets the bills, or whether it's we need to set up tooling, prototyping, whatever that may be, there's usually some sort of onboarding process. You can use the Service Hub to support that onboarding process. Tie that to the deal, tie that to the customer. And again, our executive team understands where that is. Our salespeople understand where they're at in the onboarding process. And we can better communicate with our customers at certain milestones as we pass through that onboarding process. Quarterly customer reviews. So this is actually different than what I would consider our quarterly customer surveys. I would consider this as being an internal thing. We have a quarterly customer review coming up with our customer in 2 months, whatever that may be. I want to have all of the information, all the past conversations, all the jobs we've done in one place and tied to this quarterly customer review. So as I'm preparing my information for our meeting, I have it all in one place, and we might have quarterly customer review coming up in 30 days, quarterly customer review coming up in 7 days, completed quarterly customer review. I'd have the dates of those quarterly customer reviews, whether they were on-site or at our facility or virtual. I'd have all that information in one place, so we're tracking all of those processes. On-time delivery, so thinking at a high-level view of how is our manufacturing processes performing, and again, this might be something in the ERP system, but what are our failed, quality control, tolerances, delivery, parts, whatever that may be, we can track that information and associate it with our customers in the Service Hub. Or if you are a manufacturing company that does just-in-time delivery, you could do job tracking on the HubSpot side. Again, maybe that's taking place in your ERP, and maybe there's a potential for integration, but that's another way we can increase transparency. Lastly, some more general ones. Customer chat. If I'm a customer, I want to be able to chat with my vendors and ask quick questions, right? It's an easy way to declutter email and get people answers quickly. So if you have the ability to use chat and say, we only want to show this chat to our customers, that should be a pretty easy way to improve customer satisfaction. And lastly, knowledge base. I know as manufacturing companies, you may not think that I have to have like a how to log into my software type of thing, right? But your customers still have questions like what type of drawings do I need to submit? How do I submit our PO? How do I find my tracking information for our jobs? Whatever that may be, a knowledge base helps your customer base find answers that they would be asking you otherwise quickly. Again, declutters email and gives them the information that they need quickly. Tons of ways we can use it as manufacturing companies. These are just a few ideas to kind of get the sparks flowing, or whatever they say, because I know that when people first hear about Service Hub, they probably think, well, gosh, I'm not a software company. I can't utilize that. There's so many ways that you can utilize Service Hub as a manufacturing company. I'm not going to go into the nuts and bolts of how to set up Service Hub here. There's tons of resources around doing that. And in the grand scheme of things, some of it's pretty easy to set up. I'm going to look at this from a high level. If we're thinking about doing this, the first thing that we want to do is plan. Put a pen to paper and say, here's how we're going to use the Service Hub, right? Here's all the stakeholders that are going to be involved. Here's when we're doing it. Here's our pipelines. Here's the information that we're tracking. After you've identified that, build it. Build it in the system, test it out, and then train your team, and then finally launch. Expect to adjust. So after you've launched this to your team, expect that we're probably not going to hit a home run every time. We're going to have to go back, and once it hits the real world, understand what needs to change, what needs to adapt, what needs to improve, what needs to go away in some scenarios as well. So again, I'm not going to go into details as to how to set up Service Hub, but when I think about anything that I build in HubSpot, those are kind of the 4 pillars that I would think of. Plan, build, launch, and plan to adjust. All right, I went through that quickly, and that's because we have a special guest here today. Our special guest is Connor, who you can see on the video, Connor Beck of Getman. He is a machine reliability specialist. He's, in fact, certified at Maintenance and Reliability Professional, which is a CMRP. I don't have any cool letters behind my name. Someday I will get them, but HubSpot's certifications don't give you cool letters. So happy for you for that. Connor picked up HubSpot so quickly. He's been using it about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years now.
Yeah, going on 2 years now. Yep.
Picked it up super quickly, and I would consider Connor a rock star. He's able to use the system, build some things on his own, but he's also really good about saying, if I don't know this, I'm going to ask someone, right? Sometimes we're a little brave and we do things without asking. Not saying that you can't do that, but sometimes you reduce a lot of future headaches by just asking and finding out. Outside of work, I only know a couple things about Connor outside of work, but he's also on Strava. So if you are a runner, if you ride, connect with Connor on Strava and check out his runs. And with that, I'm going to hand this over to Connor to share his screen.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Josh. And I just want to say, in this last 20 minutes, I've already heard new things that I want to start implementing here, specifically the friction monitoring, because sometimes we have issues that we know are there, but they're not really tangible. And we need to take that time to say, we need to address this and actually put pen to paper. So yeah, thank you. My name is Connor Beck, Machine Reliability Specialist at Getman. I'm always looking at our equipment in the field and knowing basically our installed base at all times. So that's what we have out working, active. It's commissioned. It's not just sitting anywhere. And we are an underground mining support OEM. So we manufacture underground mining support equipment, and it's global. As we're getting ready to put on suntan lotion, we think about the zinc that's in that. What we're doing right now with our electronic devices, that needs mining. When we drive the parts in our cars, it's all dependent on mining. And so we use the Service Hub to give our customers a great experience and ultimately improves the whole process. I'm just going to share a short film, just about 6 minutes, just to set the stage and show again, the importance of the Service Hub, which helps us make a better product and which results in stories like these. So I'm just going to go ahead and share. Again, this is a true story, and it should be good. And then just give me a little, give me a verbal good that it's sharing right now. Can you see?
Yes.
Good. Okay, great. I'm going to hit play.
Dear sir or madam, you don't know it yet, but the reason I'm sending you this letter is because of something you've done. You see, in the mines, you're either in or you're out. There is no in between. It's another day, another time underground. You don't know me, but they say when you know one miner, you know us all.
Dad, wait! I don't want you to leave.
It's my promise.
I'll always come back.
Always come back. But honestly, it's deeper. It's a brotherhood. It's in our soul. Our blood runs black. You wanted to see me, sir?
Julio, you are scaling Rehab 4.
Rehab 4.
Orders from the top. Start today.
Right, but we haven't hit Rehab 4 in years, sir.
All right. You'll come back.
So how's your little girl doing? She's good. She's a little worried about me. Well, this is what we do, right?
Yeah.
But we should have the exact numbers next week.
Okay.
I had to guess probably in the low 20s.
Yeah. I know.
It might be a little bit of a bumpy quarter for that team. The Explosive Charges Division is reporting a 12% increase in Q3 deliveries with no new safety-related issues as part of our initiative. But the Latin American team is continuing to gather
Did you read this?
Sir? Are you still there? Eric? Are you still there?
Dad, wait!
Hey, Eric, you still there?
Sorry, Catherine. We're gonna have to pick this up tomorrow. After lunch. Thank you. Gather everybody on the scalar line.
I know that life is a gift. And thanks to you, I can receive it twice.
Thanks, everybody. Listen, I want to share with you a letter I received today from a miner. I'm eternally grateful for what you've built. And in case you wake up in the morning and wonder why,
My life is a testament that what you do matters.
that what you do matters. If you worked on the S3120 scalar project, let's see it.
Thanks to you, I can remain a miner.
That was amazing. That gave me goosebumps.
Oh, good. I do love that story, and this happens. It happens over and over. Not necessarily, we see this happen one after another, but this is not just a one-time event. Our equipment saves lives in true stories like this. So. And then that's a good segue into the importance of the service hub, because that ultimately affects our purpose of helping miners work safe. So with that, I'll just segue into the presentation, and we'll have a look at how we utilize the service hub for our processes. So share. And do that. Okay. Again, give me a confirmation. How are we looking, Josh?
Good.
All right. So Getman Service Excellence using the HubSpot Service Hub. I want to talk about what the situation was before we adopted the Service Hub, because I think it's important to look at how far we've come. So this is 2 years ago, a picture taken in the Getman office. No, I'm kidding. But when I think about the situation before the Service Hub, this is what comes to mind, like an old style mail sorting room, because we managed our service issues and questions completely with an email. So the question inquiry would come in, we'd see it, we'd color code it so we knew who was working on it. We'd find the solution, we'd pass that solution along, whether it was a quote or it was instructions, service instructions could be, and then we would say goodbye. We'd archive the email, and it would be lost really into the abyss. So that's the first bullet point. That's the first issue. That's the first problem, the barrier. And then the second is, again, how do you manage recurring issues when something comes up and you say, oh, I think I have done that before, and I think it was July of 2020, but I'm not sure, and I think I was talking to this person. So then you go to your email and you type their name, and then maybe you filter by time, and you ultimately can't find it. And then the customer is not satisfied because you're taking a long time to hopefully find a good reference to help them, but they don't know that. So that's number two, barrier number two, really. Number three is data analysis. Well, it's really non-existent, and it was non-existent for us because we were completely in email. Because you can't take everything, make it tangible, and look at it all at once and analyze it. You simply can't do that. So that's what we strive for upon this adoption. And then last is growth. Again, before the Service Hub, growth is impossible because you cannot analyze your data. And we're going to see in a few slides just how we are growing while we're using this software. So basically, right after getting our hands on the Service Hub, we looked at management. The first bullet point, which was I just described how we handled it before. So now we look at our installed base, as I mentioned a few moments ago. Every single machine that you have out working, we know at any given time where that machine is, if it's active, what axle does it have on it, and then we look at those machines and we say, what are the service tickets that we have managed with that machine? What are the service tickets that we currently are managing? And then we say, is there a particular machine that has a high number of service issues? And we would ask the question of why. Maybe we'd look at a particular model or a particular serial number. Number two is categorization. So we categorize in a few different ways. On the screen, what you see in front of you is really the base of how we categorize our service tickets. So we start at issue identified. The customer comes to us, explains the issue. So at that point, we know what's in front of us, but we might not know the work scope involved with solving the issue. So that's why the next column is work scope defined. That means that we know every step that we have to take to find a resolution. And then when pens to paper and the tires to the road, we're in progress and we're solving that issue, writing drawings, anything it might be, that's where we house those tickets. And then we archive them in the closed column. We call it most recent, so we know that it's chronological, and if we've closed a ticket recently, it's going to be at the top, ready for us to reference it. And if we know that maybe we solved something a while ago, we'd have to look far down in that list. We see 350 right there, so maybe it was number 300 that maybe it was the 50th ticket we closed, and it's called 300 on this list. That's how we categorize. Another way is we categorize on what part of our equipment was the issue concerning. So again, is it the axle? Is it to do with the operator station? Is it to do with a man basket? Anything. We want to know where those issues are occurring. And then next is prioritization. And there are a few different ways that we prioritize tickets. One is high, medium, low. So if it's concerning anything to do with safety or a unit down situation, it's going to get a high priority label. And then everything else we sort of feel it out, put it where it needs to go, and that affects the timeliness of how we solve it. But then there's another level of priority, is if a ticket has been open for some time, you want to look for a resolution as soon as you can, because that adds priority as our tickets stay on our backlog. We look to resolve in a timely manner. And then next is the customer interface and automation. So with email, we realized that there really wasn't a customer interface, because they're sending us a message and we're saying hi back, and then we're giving them a solution, and then it's over. Definitely is a disadvantage to customer satisfaction there. At the same time, automation, what we've done is we allow our customers to submit a service ticket right on our website, and that ticket actually goes in front of our backlog automatically, where then we can reply, say, thank you for your ticket submission, and we're working to solve right now. Goes along with communication. And at the same time, we have not forgotten about email, but what we do is we house every single touch base, every single follow-up. We house those emails within the service ticket so that we can know what was said, what, when, for future documentation. Timeliness, we've touched on that. All this together equals solving issues in a timely manner. And then closure. So with the email, you say, here you go. This will work for you. Good. We'll see you. But now we close the ticket. We understand that the customer is satisfied with the solution we've provided, and we close that ticket for future documentation so that we can use it going forward. So managing recurring issues. So this has been one of the largest advantages of the Service Hub for us, and more as we close tickets, we have that library, that archive that we can grab a ticket, look at what we did, solve quickly. So we can search by keywords in our database. We can find tickets quickly. As you see in the example, I'm just doing a quick engine keyword search, and we've got 32 tickets ready to be reviewed that were concerning the engine. And this is really the title head engine, maybe the description head engine. And so we're consistent in the way that we title our tickets, and in our descriptions as well. We include as much information as possible so that these keyword searches go smoothly. And then filters, we ask the question of, well, we know we had a ticket, but say so-and-so was the one who handled it. So then we can look at all the tickets that they managed and find it quickly. We can also filter by time, maybe month, close date, anything like that. And then again, with recurring issues, we have a ticket mindset. So it helps us on the back end remember a ticket, because remembering a ticket is far easier than remembering an email tenfold. So now for what we're doing with data analysis right now, which again was absent before. This really is whatever we want to make it, and we're still finding new ways and building our dashboards. So the first bullet point is assets associated with service tickets. So like I mentioned, we want to know, what are all the issues occurring with this machine, and do we have to take a step back and ask the question of, why are these issues occurring? Is it locational, being mine sites and service tickets? Maybe there's a cause there. And with mine sites and service tickets, if we have say a visit coming up, we can review the resolved service tickets with that area. We can also be knowledgeable of the ongoing service tickets, so that when they ask us maybe for a follow-up, or maybe they're really needing a solution, we're aware of that, and maybe we even come with that solution so that it could be a face-to-face resolution. And then categories. So again, we want to know every single part of our equipment, every single part of the machine, where are issues occurring, and really what are our top issues. So this pie chart right here, it's actually a breakdown of many different categories of service issues and really of service tickets. Then you see some slivers are far smaller than others. So we really have the top 5 that we look at. And that tells us where we should be focusing our knowledge, and it tells us what we're going to be dealing with day to day. We see one of them is about 22%, and then some of them are just a sliver. We see a few issues with that category, and sometimes they're inquiries. They might not always be an issue, but we want to know either way. Lastly, data analysis allows us to do a team evaluation. So we can understand, how quickly are we resolving these issues? What's our volume month to month? And maybe that's a reason for a slightly longer time to provide service, but it's good if your volume is up. If you've only closed 3 tickets in the month, but you did it quickly, that's not as good as closing 25 tickets, but doing it in about a week average. So yeah, with us, we're still growing, and we're still asking these questions. We're still using our dashboards. Just in closing, growth. Growth was the last bullet point on the first slide, and again, it was non-existent before. But we think of growth as the phrase, how do we ever get by before? Which we say that quite a bit. We catch ourselves saying this. And when you break this phrase down, it actually means you could not have done before then what you do now with the resources you had before. There's no way we could do then what we're doing now in the space that we were doing it. It's impossible. And this is a product of adopting an efficient system like the Service Hub. So, Josh, I'm gonna kick it back over to you for some questions. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. Great presentation. I'm going to share my screen here because I have prepared some questions for you. Candidly, Connor is aware of these questions, so they're not a surprise to him. But next time, you're a guest speaker, we're going to have all surprise pop quiz questions. We'll just give you the easy treatment the first time. All right. So you described in general at a high level how you're using it procedurally, which I thought was awesome. What tools are you using in the Service Hub? If you would say, like, we're using all the tools, specific tools, which ones do you think you're utilizing most commonly for the Service Hub?
So currently, service tickets. One thing that we do is we turn all of our conversations into service tickets. I know that you had mentioned the conversations inbox. So a tool is we have a unified service email that multiple people are on, and we have that inbox within HubSpot where we can quickly turn any item into a service ticket and do it quickly, so that we're not making say an empty service ticket that has no emails in it, no attachments. We like to go right from the question to the ticket.
So then someone emails service at, or whatever it may be, help at, and then the ticket gets created or the conversation.
Exactly.
Are you using forms to do intake of service tickets?
Yes. And that is what we are moving towards every day, is to have a higher number of service tickets being initiated by the form. So it's good if they reach out and then they know that we're going to make a ticket. But it's even better if they can make the ticket themselves and assign it that high priority, so that we know this is a serious issue. They can attach their pictures, they can attach their documents, which will stress that importance. So yes, forms, absolutely.
And are you doing anything to support either cross-tool usage or cross-team usage? So tying service to marketing or sales or anything like that?
So sales, absolutely, and really sales has been parallel to service, kind of with our growth. And one great thing is our engineering department. They see the benefit with HubSpot. We actually have a biweekly meeting with our team where we discuss. I know that you had mentioned, Josh, engineering. So we have a bi-weekly touch base where we talk about these open tickets that are concerning engineering. So maybe it's concerning drawings, part creation, anything like that. So yeah, we see, and we continue to see cross-functional growth with HubSpot.
Awesome. One of the questions that Connor and a couple other folks at Getman have asked me throughout, not only the onboarding process, but since moving to HubSpot, has been like, give us a grade. How are we doing from an onboarding perspective? And I will give Connor and Don and the rest of the Getman team an A+ as far as adoption and usage. They have been just awesome at making sure that they're incorporating the tools. And then the other thing that they do is they'll run pilots on some of these other potential capabilities, test it, see if it's going to fit the process. If it does, move forward with it. If it doesn't, say, all right, let's table that until something else gets released. So A+ on usage and adopting the Service Hub tools and some of the sales tools. So next question. What has changed since moving to the HubSpot platform? I know you said, how did we ever get by before? What have you and the team seen as a change since moving?
I think the greatest change that sort of summarizes everything is our communication as a company, as well as transparency. So nothing is in a silo anymore. Nothing is off without any windows where nobody knows that they're working on it. Now we can track, this is who's working on this. This is who we need support from, whether it's cross-functional or within the department. That we did not have before, is that level of communication. And then on the other side is the communication with customers that has grown as well, because we can provide them updates on where their service ticket is at. Sometimes we'll close a service ticket, and the customer, they'll feel comfortable to say, and I have something else, which we're going to open another ticket for that, so we don't have conflicting information inside of one ticket. But yeah, the communication with customer and internal all grows because of the Service Hub.
Awesome. That's where it's at. I assume the customers have noticed a change as well in communication frequency and quality. So great. So I'm not going to say that software is ever implemented without challenges. I have come across very few scenarios where something has been implemented without any roadblocks or hurdles. What are some of the challenges that you and your team have faced in onboarding the software?
So the greatest challenge, I can say without doubt, is staying consistent within the software, and also staying grounded within the software. So with consistency, if a very granular example, if I want to call something X, and say X and Y are very similar, let's say they're the same thing, and somebody else thinks it's Y, and then they want to say, I want to go find all the Y's, and I say, oh, that's great because I've labeled all the Y's, but really I've labeled them what I want to call them. Then you go in with any software and you try to find the information you need, and it brings back absolutely nothing because you're not consistent as a company. So whether it's a filter, most of the time it's a filter, and we understand when those problems occur, and then we address them and say, all right, let's get consistent with the way that we're maybe naming our tickets, with the way that we're naming anything at all. So consistency has been a challenge, and I think we've come a long way. And then staying grounded, because there are so many opportunities, especially change. And if we could, we would just improve everything all at once. But it's important to take it step by step. Like right now, we're working on a few great projects within the Service Hub, and we know that more will come, and we're not going to do everything all at once. So staying grounded has been
awesome.
A challenge.
My greatest challenge in working with the Getman team has been having to use Microsoft Teams for our meetings. It's a big struggle for me. I'm getting over it though. How difficult do you think it was to onboard and adopt the system? You know, whether you want to answer that with a scale of 0 to 10, or running a 1 mile versus a marathon. How would you rate that?
Well, I would say after onboarding, you move into adopting, and the difference there, for us to adopt, we're always growing, and we're making sure that everybody who should be using it at our company is using it. We want to pass on the knowledge during adoption, because we can give everybody an account, and we can give them access to everything that's needed. But the difficulty lies in unifying the way that we do things within the Service Hub, and really HubSpot in general, because they're all connected. Again, nothing's in a silo. So I don't know if I can assign a numerical value, but I think it's best. Anything comes with challenge, but yeah, we overcome for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I think one of the other things that you've done, talking about those SOPs and how we're naming things, how we're using things when something gets logged, that's super important, as we've seen for adoption, and just accountability and expectations. Holding the team accountable for using it and explaining what the expectations are of usage, instead of just putting it out there without those expectations, because what are people supposed to take from that, right? Like if the expectations aren't set, they're just making their own guesses. Like, they only want me to use it once a week or once a month, right? So you guys have done a nice job of setting that precedent as to how it's being used and when it's being used. All right, last question. This is your opinion. It doesn't have to be related to how you're using it for Getman. What is your favorite HubSpot feature?
I want to say, when I type an email, it fills in the contact without me having to do it. But I'm not going to say that. I want to say it. But I think the dashboarding that we can do within the Service Hub to have a live dashboard that you can go to at any time and see exactly what your performance is, see exactly where the issues are, see how far you've come. That has to be, and as my background, reliability, that has to be my favorite feature.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job with using those dashboards and reports, and not only internally, but if I'm not mistaken, you're using even some dashboards and reviews with your clients on a regular basis, right?
Yes, that's true.
Awesome. All right. Well, Connor, we appreciate you being a guest. You did an awesome job. Loved the video. It was such a good segue into the importance of service. You know, and when we think about any of our businesses, some of us maybe aren't life or death, right? But you know, our businesses and our customers, they're the ones that are paying the bills and keeping our families fed. So great customer service helps that just continue and grow, allows us to grow with our customers. So awesome job. I'm going to open this up for questions from a couple of attendees that are here. Also, we will be sending this out to all of the people that registered, which we had significantly more people register. So I'll open that up for questions there too. If you're watching this on demand, email either of us with any questions that you have, and certainly ask away. Zach, do you have any questions for you? I'm going to put you on the spot. And also, I'm not sure if we still have Rachel here. Rachel, any questions from you?
You could, just give me a couple of your buyer personas, and I could, just act them all out in different personalities, pretend I'm a several different attendees for you guys today.
That's okay.
No,
I appreciate that offer.
Yeah, sure. No, it's funny. I'm sitting here shaking my head, yes, pretty much to everything that, you guys are talking about. It's funny, Connor, I have now a client who I used to work for. And when we brought on HubSpot, we brought on the full suite. And to this day, we still haven't used the Service Hub for anything other than, internal communications and tracking, internal process. And it's, the same exact journey that you went through. Everybody just emailed everything back and forth, and there was no tracking, there's no metrics. You didn't know if, are you doing a good job or a bad job? And now, almost, 2 years later, it's really neat to see the data, So one of the things we would track would be like order issues. And these were issues that were caused typically by the sales team, wrong cost, wrong price, wrong this, wrong that. And, being able to see those order issues over time go down, right? Because we're now focusing on the right categories, where are most of the issues happening? So no, it was great. I don't have a ton of questions. I feel like I've kind of been through that same journey. So it's really nice to see someone else using those same tactics.
And just to add on to that, I agree completely, because the more data you get that holistic view, and you are not doing a knee-jerk reaction based off one event. So we can actually see, maybe we have 350 closed tickets, maybe we have 500 deals, but yeah, we get to build and look at it holistically for sure.
Yeah, we're also looking at the time in each stage. So, where are the bottlenecks? So we have, reporting built on that as well, which is, really nice. So, in one example, the sales team would request pricing from the purchasing team. What's the expectation for turning that pricing back around to the sales team so they can put a quote together, right? Is it, 3 weeks? No. Nobody wants to wait that long. Is it, 3 hours? Unlikely. So kind of having that agreement between the teams, what should it be? And then tracking to see, are we actually, holding up each end of the bargain, or where else in the process are there potential bottlenecks that, just points out that the process just needs work, right?
It's interesting, that discussion on dashboards and seeing those metrics and understanding what they are. I personally am a data-driven person. That's why I like Strava so much. Like, if I can improve on something and I can see that the number's there, I'm going to strive to do that, whether it's 1 second, 1 minute, X amount more, or whatever it may be. I personally am very data driven.
So I do have one question for you, Connor. So, there are a couple things that you're doing that I jotted down a couple notes here to, kind of bring up again as potential projects to work on. And, one of them that I've always wanted to do is connect the inbox to those generic kind of like sales or purchasing emails. But I know that there's also, like, those emails have been around for a while. And there's a lot of junk that gets sent through those inboxes. So how do you handle filtering out the junk when you're creating a ticket for every email that's coming in? I would assume that those email addresses are getting, picked up by somebody that is unwanted, so do you just kind of just mark them as junk, or do you have a way to kind of filter those out?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what we do is so we connect those inboxes, and we start there. We still monitor, our email, our shared email constantly. And when we see something that's new, and we say, yeah, that should be a ticket, and we nearly make a ticket for just about every inquiry, because we don't want to misrepresent, any data. But some items are, they're just very small, and they might not need a ticket. But then we ask the question, should this get a ticket? So if we can, we'll go to that conversations inbox, quickly find it, create that ticket from there, and then start our journey on that particular ticket. And yeah, to be honest, we're not really in that conversations inbox just like looking at it. We're in email, and when we see something that's new to start, we start it. And we might find that doesn't work for us in the long run. But currently, right now, that's how we do it.
Gotcha. So you're leveraging the inbox as an easy way to create a ticket from a conversation versus saying, oh, we gotta find the contact and create a new ticket and fill everything in. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Do you guys use the chat functionality at all?
I actually do not believe so.
No.
I do not think we do.
Yeah, I haven't really used that a lot. I'm not ready yet. I think, one of the challenges is always, there are all these great tools that you can use. But is the team who's going to use them, like, are they ready for it yet? Do they have, enough bandwidth to handle being responsible for, responding to incoming chats if you don't have a chat bot set up, are you generating leads and people are being able to give them enough attention? Like, do you have enough salespeople to handle that, or do you have a dedicated person for that? Same thing on the service end. It'd be great to have all these tickets created, but who's going to manage that if you don't have it right enough? So it's almost like, be careful what you wish for. You got to have the people and the process in place before you can kind of open Pandora's box, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that sort of made me think of one thing that we're doing right now, that in a way is similar to like a constant chat. We meet monthly with many of our customers, and we actually reference these service tickets in that discussion. And maybe there's something on their end that is required to close it out. So we would bring that up. But yeah, in place of using chat, we talk, especially verbally, monthly with our customers.
Great. Do you leverage the like the customer feedback, customer satisfaction surveys?
We have used a few for times when we want to know if something is right for the customers. We need that input from them. So we have put out just a handful of surveys just to test it out. And yeah, I find they work very well.
What have you found to be successful after you receive that feedback? Then what? Right? Because you have you have a bunch of different stakeholders involved. Some of the feedback is going to be positive. Some of it's going to be negative, and it's great to know those things. But but then what do you do with it?
Yeah, exactly. Because if you give a survey to one person and they say they're good with it, and then you're good to start. But if you give it to 500 people, you've got to look at that. Maybe you have to understand what are the reasons that maybe the results are not what you want them to be. Maybe you're hoping for more positive reaction. So, and again, with us, we're not as mature with the surveys, but I'm sure we will get there. But yeah, there is a level of reflection once you get that data exactly.
Yeah, I feel like that's the challenge, is getting, like, taking action then on the feedback.
Yeah.
If we're not doing something well, what's the plan to fix it? And I've seen, a lot of companies who send out the surveys and they get the feedback, and it's like, here's a list of things that people aren't happy with, and it's like, okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add them to friction monitoring or something. One of my favorite questions on a survey response would be like, if someone gave you a 7, just asking them, well, what would have made it an 8?
Right.
Or if it was high, like, why'd you rank us so high? That asking them as a follow-up, what it was. Some of those 9s and 10s you can then use as a testimonial on the site, or as a segue to, like, yeah, do you know anyone else, in a similar boat as you that you might be willing to refer us to?
Yep.
So yeah, definitely agree. Like, you don't want those to go out in space and just have them answer survey to never do anything with them on the follow-up.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. Well, Connor, again, appreciate you joining us and presenting. Zach, appreciate you joining on video impromptu and putting a nice clean shirt on.
Yeah, it's fresh.
Yeah. Appreciate the conversation. We'll get this sent around, offer it via on demand on our site and on the HubSpot user group site. And we'll look forward to more of these. Everyone, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.